Okay, this morning I'm making a ham and cheese frittata. A good friend of mine on TikTok was interested in how I make them, so this is how I do it. What a frittata is, for those of you who don't know, it's an Italian egg dish for breakfast, or it can be for dinner. It's basically a quiche. You can use any kind of meat, you can use any kind of cheese, you can use any kind of veggies. You do want to keep your veggies to a low moisture content. So tomatoes can be used, but I suggest not. So with that in mind, we're going to start by putting a 10-inch cast iron skillet in the oven mid-rack. Now, the reason we're doing this is so that we can preheat the pan. And then we're going to preheat the oven to 350. Alright, we're going to crack 8 eggs. And we're going to be using 2 cans of diced ham, about 2/3 of a cup of shredded cheese, and we're going to give that a good beating. Don't forget the salt. We're using pink Himalayan. Just salt to taste. I don't really measure that. And pepper. I gotta go gentle on the pepper because Sugar Bear is going to be having some of this too. Alright. Just enough to give it some color. And then we're going to beat it up real good again. Alright, we're going to, now that we're preheated, we're going to take the 10-inch cast iron skillet out of the oven. And we're going to add about 2 tablespoons. I use Nutiva coconut oil, butter flavored. You can use butter or olive oil. Now this stuff tends to melt at room temperature, and this is a little bit more than 2 tablespoons. All you're really trying to do is put enough in there to coat the entire thing. And it's going to melt readily in a 350 degree pan. Now we're going to take this and we're going to put it back in the oven for about 5 minutes, because what happens when you put your butter or olive oil, or in my case coconut oil, in the pan, the heat transfer causes the pan to cool down. You want that pan to be at 350 degrees when you add your ingredients. Alright, We're going to take the pan back out. At this point, the oil is good and melted. It's really beautiful there. And we're going to take our ingredients and go straight to the pan. Now what's going to happen here is that oil that's in the bottom is going to rise up around the edges here. And that's good, because as it cooks and as it rises, that oil is going to follow up the sides. So now we're going to put it back in the oven. And we're going to set the timer for 30 minutes. All right. Now we're going to let that rest. First we're going to put about another third cup just sprinkled on top there for garnish. You don't have to do this. It just makes it look pretty. And who doesn't like just a little bit more cheese, right? Now we're going to let that rest for another 15 minutes. And what that's going to do is the inside may still be slightly undone. And that's going to let it all just continue cooking to the point of doneness. Okay, cancel that. Now, at this point it'll cut real easy. Alright, make sure to go around the outside edge here. There we go. Okay. Now you can cut this in 8 pieces, but I like a bigger piece because I'm allowed to actually have that. Isn't that nice? All right. The frittata is one of my favorite breakfasts. Just like having an omelet, just a little more fluffy. Now, what I did here was a simple ham and cheese frittata. But you can add any vegetables you want. Baby spinach, onions, peppers, tomatoes, mushrooms, and you can use any kind of meat. I generally stick to one type of meat at a time, but you can mix meats. I have had a steak frittata one time, actually a cheesesteak frittata, because I just cut up a leftover steak and dropped it in the mix, and it came out delightful. Y'all have a great day.